Hello and welcome back to the Legendary Chiropractor Podcast. I am your host, Dr. Brent Janogan. Tonight we have someone truly special, Dr. Jamal Früster. This man truly was a presence whenever we were on campus together at Life University throughout our duration of Doctor of Chiropractic School. He is now the host of Soul Coffee, his own podcast, where he brings people on for conversations that ultimately caffeinate the soul and shift people in a profound way. He is a doctor at the Source Chiropractic in Tucson, Arizona. He is a lead facilitator for the Kairos training culture community. He is a high vibrating being that truly inspires, drives, and allows you to be full of expression and permission to express. He's the former president of Delta Sigma Chi Lambda chapter at Life University, and truly just a profound human being that changes every person that he comes into contact with to allow them to be able to vibrate and be their best version of themselves. Dr. Jamal, thanks for being here tonight.
Oh man, it's an honor and privilege, my brother.
Absolutely. Before we jump into conversation, we're going to hear from our amazing sponsors that allow this podcast to happen.
Total Clinic Solutions is your go-to source for purchasing both brand new and refurbished chiropractic equipment, as well as phone support for repairs and maintenance. Call Derek and allow him to combine your wishes and his 23 years of chiropractic equipment expertise to find what's best for you and your patients at 704-622-4089 or head to TotalClinicSolutions.com now. True Chiro, helping chiropractors explode their practices and save more lives by shifting the perception of what they do from neck and low back pain to being about the brain and nervous system, leading to increased retention, more referrals, higher case averages, but most importantly, better patient outcomes for more than just neck and back pain. For more information, check out the link below, truechiro.org. Again, that's truechiro.org.
Welcome back to Season 16, Episode 10 with Dr. Jamal Früster. Dr. Jamal Früster in the house. How are we doing tonight, baby?
Oh man, I'm charged. It's been a full day, Dr. Brent. And I'm just really honored to be here, excited to light y'all up, give y'all some energy, and just remind these chiropractors and chiropractic students, it's the best time in the world to be a chiropractor. And as you align yourself to what you want and allow yourself to dream bigger, live deeper, and breathe a little bit more, I imagine that'll create the space for you to be able to do so. So that way your practice members in the future, your family now, and your practice members now can feel that.
I love that because you've always brought the energy. You know, when we were students together, I'll never forget. Like, you just walked up a big old smile, and you're like, I don't know, I just need to know you, and you just wore that energy everywhere you went. You just like you put like, who's Jamal? Oh, that guy. Yeah, that's Jamal. Everybody knew who Jamal was on campus.
Oh man, I mean, I love people. Like and we went to Life U, bro, as you know, and I don't know. I just think Life U is different. Call me partial because that's my alma mater now, but man, I think that there's just a special something that I think when invoked inside somebody, it's impossible to put that thing to sleep. And I think our duty is to be able to help awaken it within each other when we're in school, so that way we can actually exude the principles that we want to for our people now and in the future.
Absolutely. And, you know, I'm so grateful that I went to Life University out of all the schools because it left me truly more prepared than I ever thought I was going to be. And ever, like, you know, going through the process, looking back at it in reflection, I was so well prepared, philosophically, technique driven. Like, my hands, you know, were hot coming out of school. I knew, oh boy, like, these things are sharp. What? And it just, when I talk to other doctors that have, you know, graduated from other schools, you know, I work with a doctor that graduated from Logan, and, you know, our thought processes are two different spectrums. And
Yeah.
conversation lies in the middle of chiropractic, but philosophically, like, we were taught so differently, and just the exposure at Life University to all the different techniques and just the conversations, the conferences, the seminars, it just truly built so much value in my life going through school as a student that now as a doctor I can look back and definitely say I'm grateful that we went to Life University.
Yeah, I agree. I think we got spoiled. Um, as there's so many other chiropractic experiences that start in chiropractic school, and seeing a few of the schools across the world like University of Johannesburg I had the chance to see, going to Logan, I've been to Cleveland, I've been to Parker, I've been to Life West, I've been to where else I've been, seen a bit of CMCC. So being able to appreciate how good we have it has been so important, so good.
It absolutely has. And so, what have you been doing since you graduated? Because I know you're always doing something, and I love that about you because you're always just, bro. Like, yeah, it's always like, what's Jamal doing? And I know you've had a meditation seminar that you recently held, and then you've also been speaking at different seminars, different conferences, and events as well. Correct?
Yeah, so I mean, as of recent, I do a mastering meditation class, which is lovely and exciting. And that's been at a social club called the Arizona Sand Social Club. I'm in Tucson, Arizona, y'all, in case y'all missed that. And it's good to be able to teach people chiropractic principles that stem from Dr. Joe Dispenza, which then go into, helping people heal and transform their lives, which has been fun. I recently did a workshop called Providing for the Provider, also super fun, where I'm able to pour into my parents and my nurses, my physicians, my healthcare professionals in a different and in an important way. So it feels good to be able to serve people in that capacity, and it's just very, very charging.
Mm, yeah, you're always reaching out and just covering more ground and getting more exposure. And I've always enjoyed watching that journey for you. And but in the journey of that, learning how to be the artist in your own life and keeping that creative brush uh, fresh. How do we keep from reaching burnout? How do we? I know we're going to dive into this a little more deep later, but just give us a taste. What are some of the underlying principles as a student, like that we don't reach burnout?
Mm. I think the essence of things is that you got to stay aligned with your soul. I think you got to stay aligned and present to what brings you alive, and being diligent, creating boundaries in your expression, and keeping those things present and alive and potent and powerful, so that way you can be able to exude the life that it is that you want. It's chiropractic principles. I know y'all know this, but the expression of intelligence through matter is the chiropractic meaning to life. And I think a lot of students are out of integrity and out of alignment with that. And if you're out of integrity and out of alignment with principle number two, we'll forget about the rest of the 33 of them, or the 31 others, as I think that's one of the most important ones, because if we're not allowing ourselves to exude and to express that which is innate to us, that which is coming through us, that which is alive inside us, and we suppress it for something that's outside of us, well, isn't that a medical model?
Hmm.
And that's cool, but if we're medical doctors, but last time I checked, we're chiropractic, or doctors of chiropractic.
Mhm.
And I think that in more chiropractors doing what's innate to them and doing what's inspiring and charging for them, I think is going to really help shift all that we're going to help see in this decade and in this generation of chiropractors.
Yeah, it's interesting. You started off. This is the greatest time to be a chiropractor, and yeah, the hard realization is our generation is only the fourth generation of chiropractors.
Hmm. Yeah.
The
Yeah.
people that came before us the last couple of decades, they're the ones that have advanced it to the point where it is, and now that it's our time to carry the torch, we have to step up to the plate. We have to break the patterns that our forefathers and for uh, women, I don't know, people that came before us, the chiropractors that came before us, that have built a profession to the point of where it is. Uh, we have to carry the torch. They've passed it on. It's our time. We have to take from these doctors that are experienced. Like my doc, been in practice 35 years. I'm like, give me the torch. Like, give it to me. It's mine now. Like, I'm running away with this. Follow.
Mm. Yeah. Well, it's interesting. I don't want to say I challenge that, but I can appreciate that they help build it to where it is. But at the same time, I feel like I've had conversations and I feel like they've dropped the damn torch. like when it came to in the insurance model and, really taking advantage of all that was, presented to them and helping bleed the system of the insurance capacities. I think there's a perspective that a number of chiropractors in the generation before us, they got lazy, they got comfortable, they got complacent. It's like when we won the Supreme Court case with Wilkes, that solidified that we are a distinguished and distinct profession. And I think in the efforts of them trying to push so hard, them getting that breath of fresh air, it really creates space for this millennial generation of chiropractic to do things differently, but yet in honor and root with the principles and where our forefathers did potentially come from, but take them where they couldn't ever think of where they could have gone.
Yeah, I think that it's important to distinguish that because there are multiple accounts that with insurance in the profession. While some chiropractors think that taking insurance allows them to be able to serve more people, but ultimately you demand you, and this is just my opinion, but you diminish the quality of care that you're able to provide because you're not provide true care by being the doctor, being the expert, and providing an expert opinion that's truly getting to the cause of the problem and people versus insurance. I can only do so much. You're very
Mm,
limited on the type of care and the quality of care you're able to provide for the duration that you're able to provide it.
mm. Yeah, and it's not even like I can appreciate that for sure, but it's even more so. It's like, why y'all bleeding these insurance companies? Like y'all out of it. Why are you charging? Why are you nickel and diming them for hundreds and hundreds of dollars for everything? Like whether you adjust the spine, gotta help you adjusting the spine, and doing any modalities that you may add on. But why does it need to? Why did it need to be so much of a price point? Because then is what has charged insurance companies to have some dissonance and create some space. But I think that's besides the point. I think the main thing, that I want to drive home is that, we have a real opportunity to be able to bring chiropractic into a new forefront where probably BJ Palmer, thought it could be, and really bringing in BJ's utopia where people can be clear and connected and the amount of subluxation and the depth of subluxation, the level of stuckness can be transmuted into, that kinetic form of energy and energy that's actually able to play all throughout the body and lead for more capacity for adaptation for individuals to the state level, to the national level, to the international level, to the galactic level. If you want to think about I think it was Dr. Pasco Sarasoli said that the earth is like tilted and it's gotten like more tilted as time has progressed.
Hmm.
And I think that's directly in relation to the amount of subluxation that exists in the world, meaning that I think it's directly correlated to the amount of disconnected people there are in the world and that are moving unsustainably and without honor to nature.
So let me get that right. Humanity is subluxated at such a value that it's actually juxtaposed the axis of the Earth.
Yes. And I think that the Earth is just one of the bones, if you will, to our solar system, where if we provide an adjustment to it, we can shift and help realign the solar system's nervous system.
Hmm. Yeah, because I mean, this double slit experiment has proven that point A, point B, they both ideally will respond to the same stimulus. So if you drop a book in here, somewhere else in the universe, another anatomical, or excuse me, cellular or molecular atomic level change occurs somewhere else in the universe. So there's definitely 2 points of reference in the universe based on one, I believe, molecule, right? Or atom
Or more.
or more. Hmm. Well, this has been a great segue. Let's get a little bit back on track to creating value because as much as this conversation creates value, I think it got a little esoteric for some people, especially as students. I feel like as doctors, we can talk a little bit more because we have a little more exposure. And I didn't understand this perspective until I got into being a doctor. Um, Being able to create value for where you are and where you've come from and having grace in that process, but understanding the value you bring here right now and how you show up.
Mm. Well, I think, I mean, anything is right here, right now. And, the invitation, the call forward for students is anything that you're doing in school can be directly transmuted into practice.
Mm.
I'd even say it's that your habits and your patterns that you are exuding now and predominantly expressing will follow you into practice. Dr. Melody Black, shout out to sis. She said that majority of students, whatever they're doing in school, they will just bring that into practice. And I think it's because nature moves in efficiency. So, based upon what you're thinking, what you're doing, what you're being, what's your capacity that you're pushing forwards, what's your level of service, what's your level of gratitude and patience and perspective that you're walking within school will directly allow you to show up. And for me, Dr. Lamarche taught me, he's like, show up,
Mhm.
the rest will figure itself out. So, what I dedicated my career to, and when I was at Life University, was just showing up. And in showing up, I made so many friends, so many opportunities, so many relationships, so many spaces welcome me in. And there was just so many opportunities because I just showed up. And in showing up, I imagine that's the first step. And then being all in and playing all in, like that's, oh my goodness, like that's the second part of it, because you're there now, but then what do you want to do? And it's not even what do you want to do, it's how do you want to be. And for me, freedom is a big value. So being able to be free and authentic and organic is very good and delicious for me because it feels good to my body, feels good to my mind, feels good to my soul and how I'm showing up. So then it becomes a game. Then it becomes a game. How can you show up in your city? How can you show up in your town? How can you show up in your community? How can you show up in your family? Because people are going to go to you because they see you as valuable in your energy. Your energy is the real value. I teach medical professionals or nurses and doctors. I say your energy is the medicine. Chiropractic, it's the same exact thing. Your energy is the medicine. Based upon your connection and the amount of energy you're letting flow through you, I imagine is directly correlated to your quality of life.
Mm. So how you show up in the world, the energy that you represent is how you show up in the world. And so you're carrying everything with you. And this is like some people maybe aren't as body aware as perhaps of energetics. And like for myself, I always felt like my I was being pulled back because I was almost like I was wearing a backpack and I was trying to drag my past with me. And because of that, I in my weight loss journey recently, in the last 2 years, lost almost 100 pounds. And I found that I was carrying a lot of my past and a lot of my emotions of my past with me, and that was just stuck on me, and I just hadn't integrated or become aware of it. And so that body awareness of how you show up, the energy that you carry, and how you represent yourself, your persona, as well as
Mm.
your ego, and the energies that they carry are two different energies. Like your persona is the representation of how you're perceived versus your ego is the internal dialogue of what you're talking and trying to project. And self is just the beautiful little
Mm.
child of you that's like nothing but unconditional love. It's like I love everyone.
Mm. 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 Yeah, I think understanding um, some basic energetic principles I think are really important into being able to understand, how do you want to be perceived by yourself first and foremost. How do you want to be perceived by yourself, let alone by others? Because how you see yourself and the permission, the grace, the love, the charge, the inspiration you give yourself, it's going to be directly felt by others. It all starts with self. That's a reminder and invitation for students. It's like, you got to focus on you, of course. We got to get really present to who you be and how you want to be. And is that in alignment with where you want to go?
And I love that you talk about that because how you show up as a doctor, I procrastinated as a student in school, and I found that my procrastination followed me into doctorhood, and I had to nip it in the butt because I became distracted. I became uh, less productive than I knew I could be. And that procrastination, you have to address it. And I feel like being in school, creating time management habits, which almost have to happen, being a student with 26 plus credits. Then as you get into the doctor world, it's like you're starting to have meetings, you're meeting at networking groups, and you're doing so much externally, not even including the internal marketing and everything else you're doing inside your practice and building your practice and creating community, as well as the physical toll of adjusting if you're at a high volume practice, or even just adjusting in general, the energetics, the spiritual, the emotional impact that serving people, you have to, I learned this from you, you have to fill your own cup before you can ever start to pour out into others.
Got to. Otherwise, that shit just isn't sustainable. Even in hearing these words, I'm just called to, serve deeper. Yes, myself, but like, really just dial in integrity, as integrity is everything. I was shooting some videos with Lou earlier. We were just talking how integrity is everything. And if, you're not integrity, with yourself, and you don't do what you say you're going to do for yourself, well, man, people are going to feel that. And that doesn't necessarily feel good, because on the other side, there's always an opportunity to refine our integrity. But it just brings the question, how close to you is it what you say you do? Is there any gap? Is there any space? And if there is any space, feel free to examine why.
Mm.
Why is there a gap in between what you do and what you say? And in that, I imagine there's some codes for you to be able to dial it in. Because as young chiropractors, or chiropractors in general, we got to be on it straight up.
You have to, show up. You talked about Dr. LaMarche. You have to show up, and how you show up. Again, returning to the energy and the value that you bring, understanding that value, being authentic and integrous of what you represent, who you represent, and how you represent it. All of those things matter as you grow and evolve into the person that you are and you're becoming. I was actually talking to Legend Born, Dr. Legend Born, earlier today, Brother Reddy.
Yes, sir.
And we were talking about showing up for your patients and just being that abundant, just positive energy, like, showing up and just like having the heart and living in that space, being willing to do the work, showing up, going home and studying on your off time so you can show up the next day, one, better, two, better informed, and three, more capable. Because the more capable you are, that allows you to be able to energetically draw in and impact more people, create more exposure, and ultimately impact more people with chiropractic if they aren't already under care.
Yeah, I love being able to just love on people. It's one of my favorite things of what we do.
Isn't it though? It's like, well, the table talk is my favorite part of the job. It's not even a job. I hate saying work. I don't like saying I'm going to my job. It's I'm going to the office. I'm going to serve. Like I don't want to contextualize it in a way that's demeaning or like degrades the energy vibration of it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think you're on it, as I think that helps then, move people into and examining, what's their relationship with burnout, what's their relationship with their energy, what's their relationship with, these different aspects of our lives that are so important to consider, and, giving themselves permission to be able to lean into all the things that, may come with the stimulus and may come with the weight or the demand, because in reality there's 8 billion people in this world, and out of all the people who are sick, 90% of diseases are chronic in nature.
Mm.
And if 90% of diseases are chronic in nature, they come from lifestyle mismanagement and lack of ability to transmute or adapt to stress.
Mm-hmm.
And guess whose job it is to be able to help with that? We're perfectly set up for it. Medical doctors are ill equipped, and they're tired, and they're burning out, and they don't have the answers. People want the answers, and they're going for different things outside of chiropractic because they don't know chiropractic actually has the answer, because chiropractors don't all know that we all have the answer that can help in some way, shape, or form.
Mm.
For now, but we're getting closer.
We are, and it really is. It's there's a wave. This fourth generation chiro, fourth chiropractic generation. It's like a wave, and the research is building, the influence is building, the it really is. It's amazing. This is truly the best time to be a chiropractor. I believe that in my soul and my heart. And you talked about burnout and you talked about leaning in. I want to dive in those topics, but before we do that, let's hear from our amazing sponsors, and then we're going to dive right back into that.
Imaging Services' primary business is chiropractic solutions. With over 45 years in the industry of helping chiropractors, Michael Tokash offers free consultations on building your business. In the past year, Imaging Services has installed over 100 X-ray machines and digital X-ray systems in over 42 states across the United States. For more, head to theimagingservices.com.
And we are back, season 16, episode 10. If you're just tuning in, tonight we have Dr. Jamal Früster. We're talking about having value, creating and understanding that value on where you are, how you show up. And we were talking a little bit about burnout and leaning in. And you come up with an app that you know what? I'll just let you talk about it because it's yours. You come up with something that really just makes you lean in. And what is that?
Oh man, am I allowed to swear?
Yeah, you are.
Oh sweet, lean the fuck in. LTFI, baby.
LTFI.
A lot of people are leaning away or running away, God forbid, from what life might be presenting to them in life. And I found, in my life, really lean the fuck into all of that which life has brought to you in a space and in a way that's honoring, yet it's powerful because you're going right into the storm. You're going right into getting to the root cause of things, kind of like what we do as chiropractors. And in addressing the root cause of things, when it comes to your energy, it can be an opportunity for you to expand your bandwidth and expand your nervous system. As keep this in mind, a part of leaning the fuck in is being able to appreciate, these zones of discomfort or uncomfortability, which then are 10%, which then beyond the 10% zone, like 10% outside of your comfort zone, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, relationship wise, financially, professionally, and fun and adventure wise, that gives you enough to like integrate. But then beyond that is something that's painful, a painful stimulus. Why is that important? A lot of people stop and they don't want to feel pain, which gives a reactivation and recalibration of what is pain. Brett talks about this, Brett Jones. Pay attention inside now. PAIN as an acronym. Pay attention inside now. And in paying attention inside now, you're able to understand and appreciate your symptoms and how they're actually your body starting to scream at you because you have been paying attention to it. Wow. And I imagine you can appreciate a soul application of that. Beyond the painful aspect of things is then the traumatic. So things get locked down and your body actually locks itself down in an effort to try to protect itself of what's going on. And then after something that's traumatic, there's the aspects where people disassociate from their bodies, disassociate from themselves, go into disbelief, which is actually disassociation of the mind.
Yep.
And all these 4 zones of things are just giving you a capacity to be able to gauge yourself, to get better acquainted with what home is and what is too much, what's too little, and what's just enough to be able to navigate things. As burnout in chiropractic, I think, is prominent because people are misaligned in school at the soul level and they don't know what they want to do, or they're just living by someone else's standards and way of being. And burnout, when you can predispose yourself to burnout, or you're there. 3 signs. Emotional exhaustion is number 1. When someone's emotionally exhausted, like you're tired of being tired. You wake up tired. You go to bed tired. You go to class tired. You eat tired. You're just tired. It's tough to rejuvenate. Number 2 is depersonalization. Depersonalization. You become cynical because you're so tired of being tired. Like your practice members, your patients, your peers, your mentors, your fellow doctors, like you get tired of being around them, and then you become snippy. And then after doing that for so long, is the final phase or the final aspect to things, which can be lack of personal achievement. You don't feel like you're progressing. And the invitation with these 3 is to give y'all a gauge: emotional exhaustion, depersonalization, lack of personal achievement. Use these as a meter, as a gauge to see where you're at in life. And if you want to correct that, or you notice that you're there, well, then what you get to reflect on and give yourself permission for is slowing down. You got to slow down. Well, excuse me, you don't got to do anything. But I imagine if you want to move through that energy, you got to be able to give yourself space. You got to slow down. You got to reflect if you're in alignment with your values and your non-negotiables. Some of mine are freedom, authenticity, integrity, gratitude, and consideration. If you're not in alignment with your values, or you're in an environment, if you're in relationships that aren't nourishing to your soul, to your spirit, well, then why are you in them in the first place?
Mm, mm.
And if you're in school facing some of this, you got to understand the constructs and the system, the environment that you're in. But you're not defined by your environment, you powerful being. You're defined by how you choose to show up and respond to things. I'm gonna give a little break right there.
That's juicy, bro. It, this is whenever we were in school together. It was always go, 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 and I felt myself reaching that point where I'd go to sleep at night, and I was only getting 4 hours of sleep, 5 hours of sleep a night because I would stay up late doing stuff, and I'd be getting up early, and I'd be trying to do too much. I had too much on my plate, and you always told me, you were like, bro, slow down. You got to slow down, and I feel like I got comparative, and I started competing with other people, trying to out achieve them. And well, they're doing this, I can do this. If they're doing that, I can do that. And in my own journey, I burn out. Like I hit that wall. I crashed. I got to a point there at the end of the program. I was like, let it all burn. Just let it burn, and I'll scoop up the ashes, and whatever's left over, we'll just work with that.
Yeah,
And
you're sick. And I understand though.
yeah, I mean, like I was thinking like it's got to be a phoenix. You gotta have some death to have some rebirth, and you just not everyone. It
No,
wasn't a healthy process.
I'm so glad we're here.
Me too. Well, you talked about that depersonalization and going through school, carrying on trauma, imposter syndrome. That's something that I saw a lot in myself. I saw it in other people. Fake it till you make it. Uh, I feel like that leads to failure because you can only do something. You're doing the reps, trying to do it as best you can, and you're going to get there eventually. But I feel like when you fake it, it's lacking authenticity.
Mm,
And for me, that
mm,
imposter syndrome just really, I lacked authenticity because I wasn't sure of who I was, what my why was, what my purpose was. And because of that, going through school, I felt like I was an imposter, putting on a play, trying to figure out who I was. And
mm,
is that part of that depersonalization you were talking about?
mm, mm. I can appreciate how you could think that it can be. I think depersonalization, it can be. Well, this is actually new. I think depersonalization, you might be very cynical with oneself. You lose a softness and you gain more of a rigidity, more of a callousness to your thoughts and your own thoughts and how you might view yourself. With depersonalization is more so you're cynical with others. To address imposter syndrome, though, I'm not of the philosophy fake it till you make it. It's like, I'm not really fake. Can't do that. It's really hard for me.
Mm-hmm.
But I forget who said it. Maybe I don't remember who said it, but it's be it until you become it.
Mm. Mm. I like.
Much different. Be it until you become it. Because you're doing some new shit. You're learning how to go through new patient exams, images, reports, like whatever it may be. And in that capacity, you really got to welcome yourself into giving yourself permission to suck with adjusting. Like a lot of people are scared to suck. And ego can get in the way, and that's when they try to like put in a lot of force or whatever maybe, which is why training is such a great aspect because
Mm.
you're getting so many reps at being it until you become it, until it just is.
Mm.
And when it just is, like, oh my goodness, like it gives so much more grace, it gives so much more flow, it gives so much more ease. Like chiropractic school is already hard enough. Don't make it harder on yourself. It's not a good idea.
It's not. I mean, it's already hard enough.
Yeah, you got to be it till you become it. And, there's layers. Like, I think I'm a year and 4 months in. Yep, 4 months in into being a doc, which is nuts. Um, but there's layers, and then new patients will come in or whatever it may be, and you got to really reckon with yourself, and really trust in yourself, and like you said with Dr. Bourne, continue to always be a student and a appreciator of life, and making yourself better and refining your craft, as I think that's the perfect antidote to burnout, or excuse me, not to burnout, to imposter syndrome.
Mm, mm. I love that. Thank you for that. Because it it's a reframe. You don't have to be inauthentic. You don't have to be fake.
No, not at all. Why would you do that?
Right?
Don't do that. Don't
Yeah,
do that.
don't do that. I love that. So always be a student. That's something that I hold myself beginner mindset. Something I always tell myself. You can, once you're a master, you quote unquote know everything. You can't learn whenever you know something. You have to be an open vessel. You have to be a beginner. Take the sponge, squeeze the water out of it, and be willing to absorb new information and move
Mm,
forward, retaining, you know, the wisdom that you've gained along the process, but be present in where you are and be
mm,
grateful for that.
yeah. I can appreciate that. I mean, even hearing like the master, they may know a lot of things, but it's one thing to know, it's another thing to apply. So even the master, they're gonna find out an infinity of ways, or play with an infinity of ways of how to move energy and how to take care of people.
Mm,
I think the master chiropractor is the humble human who's there in service and is dedicated to being able to serve people in multiple different ways, yet is principled and true and grounded, just as taking another step forward on the path of the journey of mastery.
mm. And it really is about being principled. It's understanding why we do what we do. It's you know working in the industry and the profession. You'll definitely meet chiropractors along the way that they've never picked up a green book. They've never sat down and read the chiropractic textbook. They don't understand what they're doing unless they've learned it through word of mouth or at seminars or just been exposed to it. Sitting down and spending the time reading, understanding, and absorbing the philosophy of chiropractic, it it changes who you are for the better, as well as it allows you to show up with such confidence that whenever a person's on the table, it, it's just expect miracles. That's
Mm, mm, mm. Yeah, well, I mean, I think something that's sustainable that differentiates our profession from the allopathic model is that there is the opportunity to move in a more principled way, which is just studying the laws of nature.
mhm.
We are natural beings as humans having an unnatural experience.
Mm.
Natural beings having unnatural experience living in unnatural environments. Of course, disease and sickness is going to be an outcome. We're out of alignment.
Yep.
And we're like big plants. We're like big plants with emotions. And we're not even hydrating or watering ourselves or feeding ourselves the sun and different things. So it's like, to be able to, walk in that humility and, just know how we're studying laws of nature, and then how nature, these human biological suits, are responding to the lack of nature. You're able to appreciate then the difference, and then help bridge people where they are to where they want to go,
Mm.
aka health,
Say again.
aka health.
Health.
Yeah, one thing that Fred Barge says in Life Without Fear is health is intellectual adaptation.
Mm.
Health is intellectual adaptation. You understand this concept, you understand your role in how things play out, you understand the principles of nature and how the different forces interact, and what leads to what. Like, it just, for me, it just makes sense. A lot of people don't have the time or create the time to study these. For me, I find great enjoyment and understanding in it, and then applying what it means to be a chiropractor in different ways, not just as a chiropractor.
That's so important. You have to reach out. You have to, part of the artist, the art of chiropractic is being able to be expressive combine your wisdom that you've acquired in your life, because that's your lens, that's your perspective of how you view life.
It's
And
our lens. That's what it is, bro. It's the value of the chiropractic lens.
mm,
It's invaluable.
it really is. So if someone wanted to connect you, someone wanted to dive in to more of your teachings on burnout or meditation or philosophy or your perspective of life, or they want to follow or connect to you, how can our listeners reach out and connect to you?
Great question. So I'm on Instagram. Majority of the time I may spend on socials. You can find me on Facebook. I'm not on there much. But majority of my projects, content, reels, it's tailored toward Instagram. Starting to blow up to TikTok, but you can find me at Dr. Jamal Früster, DRJAMAL, and I should pop up because there's only like 2 Dr. Jamals. And then also y'all can tune into Soul Coffee. So Soul Coffee is a space dedicated towards cultivating the mental health of the healthcare professional and of the provider ultimately, as I find great awareness, appreciation, love, and exploration and bringing on some of my favorite people and having good conversations of soul. So y'all can reach out to me on IG. Y'all can reach out to me on Soul Coffee. And if y'all want to explore more of this work and energy, boundaries and different things, burnout, me and my boy, my roommate, Alex Liu, director Alex Liu, we just created, or we're finishing the final touches of our video module. It's called Chasing Your Own Personal Legend. And that's based off the teachings of the alchemist. And that is probably one of the most exciting things that I got going on right now.
That's amazing. That's such a phenomenal book. I can't wait for you to drop that so that everyone can link to that and be able to just experience what you're able to bring to us and share with us. Tonight, we covered a lot of topics. We covered a lot of content. We talked about being out of principle as a student, as well as being a chiropractor. We dove into P.A.I.N. is pay attention inside now. Having integrity with yourself. And what is your quality of life? Because your energy is your medicine. We reframed fake it till you make it to be it until you become it.
It's way better.
So much better. And always being a student, being willing to learn and expose yourself and just be full of gratitude. Dr. Jamal, thank you for being here with us tonight. If anybody wants to connect, Dr. Jamal Früster, connect to him on essentially all social media programs besides Facebook because he's not there a lot. If you enjoyed this podcast, like, comment, share, follow, save, share it with your friends. Dr. Jamal is out there looking to connect to people in Arizona, Tucson, Arizona. Dr. Jamal, love and appreciate you. Thank you for being here tonight, brother.
Oh man, it's an honor and privilege, Dr. Brent. Thank you for carrying the torch of legendary chiropractor podcast. It's good to see that it's still continuing, as I was with Johnny when he first brought it into fruition, and Dr. Johnny. And man, it's just so wild to see us just getting after it. So I love and appreciate you, and thank you for the invitation. And anybody, y'all feel free to reach out now. Don't be shy.
Yeah, do not be shy. Thanks, bro. We will see you guys next time. Make sure you comment, like, share, and catch the next episode Sunday, the 18th of December, 2022.
Peace.